Hello everyone and welcome. This is Jeffrey Pinzon and I'm super excited to be here with you guys today. We have a special episode for you guys. Today we have the special guest, a great friend of mine, Mr. Jose Perez. He was born and raised in South Central LA. His parents migrated from Mexico. Today he is the co-owner of the Lotus Group Real Estate. With over 7 years of experience in the real estate space and over 15 years of experience in sales, today he is a leader and contributor, devoted father, and a phenomenal entrepreneur. Please help me welcome Mr. Jose Perez.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
My brother, thank you for being here
best
today.
introduction I've ever had and ever. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Greatly appreciate
I want to thank you for having me here. What you're doing here and giving back to everybody by giving them value is amazing. I know that you don't have to do this, and the fact that you spend time out of your busy schedule to do that, it just shows the type of leader that you are, and I appreciate you for inviting me. You know, people always interview people that have already made it, and you know, even though I've been successful at my 32 years of age than others, I'm still building. So the fact that you get to interview somebody that's in the journey and the struggles, and I get to share that with you guys today, means a lot to me. So I appreciate for giving us this platform.
No, and I appreciate you taking the time today out of your busy schedule to come out here and sit down with us, because I know a lot of people are going to get a ton of value from you. I've known you a couple of years and I've gotten tremendous value. I've seen you grow. I've seen you take your life to next levels. And let's go back a little bit. Tell everybody a little bit about your background, how you grew up in South Central LA.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm part of a big family. We're 6 kids. Initially, when we were born, we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in South Central. We used to call it a vecindario. I know you know that show, Chavo del Ocho, and they have all those apartment buildings. That's exactly where I grew up with. It was my older brother, 2 years ahead of me, myself and my little sister, and my parents. My parents were always hardworking individuals. You know, my mom came here pregnant from my older brother, just seeking a better life, and wanted my older brother to be born here and myself, because she was leaving a bad relationship out there in Mexico. So she just packed her bags and jumped the border, like they say, pregnant, and took that chance. Wow. And met my father here when she was over here about 1.5 years into being in the United States. And then she had me. You know, I come from modest backgrounds. My mom and my dad have always been hardworking people. Never had the business mindset, but they definitely instilled in us the ethics and working hard. You know, my mom was my biggest role model, because I saw the sacrifices she's had to make, the adversity she's had to face to kind of give us a better life, and that's what pushes me and motivates me every single day. So you don't grow up in South Central, there was not much mentorship or people to look up to. The biggest things that we had were gangs and drugs and violence, you know? Right. So for me, I was always like a little bit of an outsider. I always wanted to be more and do more. So I decided not to get caught up with the drugs, the gangs and whatnot. Literally, our neighbor was a drug dealer, and I decided that that was not the life or the route that I wanted to follow. So I used the game of football to kind of keep me away from the trouble, you know. And you know, my parents didn't have a lot of money, so I had to work very hard at a young age to be able to provide for my own school, my own books. Wow. I remember I was working door-to-door sales when I was 14 years old, right after school. They used to pick us up in this van, man. They used to call it a little pedophile van.
The newspaper thing?
It was a newspaper contract. I was selling newspaper contracts door-to-door.
Mom never wanted me to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I always wanted to do it.
They blasted it all over
the little tickets, right?
South Central and the little post, the phone post.
Yeah.
And I picked one up. You know, I was always curious, and I picked one up, called them up. They started picking up after school. Every time after school, I'll get back from practice, get back, do my homework. Then they'll pick us up, drop us off in a random neighborhood, and we just had to hit doors. And you know, they were paying us $10 for every contract that we got. So in order to make a lot of money there, you had to sell a lot of contracts, right? You know. But I think my first experience in sales came a little bit in the 5th grade. You know, we used to sell chocolates to raise funds,
right?
You know, usually a lot of kids will rely on their parents to kind of go out there and sell them at work. Well, I took it upon myself to take the list and go door to door and to all the neighbors in our neighborhood, and I got them to commit to give me $1 because we didn't have the chocolate back. Now they give you the chocolates and you sell them as you go. Then you had to get the commitment and wait for the chocolates to be delivered and then kind of take them out.
Wow.
And I was able
you were doing that door to door?
I was doing that door to door.
Wow.
Getting my neighbors to kind of commit to 5-10 chocolates. And that year in the 5th grade, I was a top selling kid, right? And the grand prize was 4 tickets to Disneyland.
Ooh.
So I ended up winning that in the 5th grade. Gave them to my mom. My mom said, "Yeah, mijo, we're gonna take you." She puts them in the drawer. We totally forget about them, right? So then I kept bugging my mom, "Mom, we're gonna go to Disneyland, or what's going on?" You know, because they were always busy working and never really had the time to take us. So when she finally pulls out the tickets, they were expired. So that was my first failure in sales, you can say. I did well, but then I didn't get to enjoy the grand prize from it. But you know, that's just the kind of environment I grew up with. You know, it was never easy. You always had to be kind of watching your back when you're walking home from school. I remember one time I was walking home from middle school and we ran into these 3 gangsters and they just came up and hit me in the face out of nowhere, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what the hell, man? I'm just trying to get home. But that's the kind of environment we had to kind of come up with, and that kind of built me a little bit, you know what I mean? Because we had to kind of fight. We had to constantly battle just to survive in that type of neighborhood. And thankfully enough, you know, nothing happened to me, nothing crazy. I did get like guns pulled on me on 3 different occasions, but I was able to kind of overcome that and just stick again to school, working hard, and you know, and I'm here now. You know, they always tell people, you are a product of your environment. You just need to decide what product you want to be. You know what I mean? I remember a while back, I had this mentor that shared a story with me, and kind of that story stuck with me because of where I grew up. He said there's people that find reasons and there's people that find excuses as to why their life is the way they are. And he shared a story about Tim and Tom. I'm pretty sure you probably heard it. And he says Tim and Tom were both kids, right? They both grew up in the worst conditions possible. They grew up with a deadbeat dad, deadbeat mom. They did drugs, alcohol, and they were just growing up in the worst environments you could think of. You know what I mean? They weren't getting fed and whatnot. So they studied these kids, and 20 years down the road, they interviewed these kids, you know, and they wanted to find out where they were and why they were in the situation they were in. So they interviewed Tom, and they go, "Tom, why do you feel you're in the situation that you're in?" You know, and Tom goes, "Well, what do you expect? My mom was a drug dealer. My mom was a drug addict. My dad was an alcoholic. So of course I'm gonna be a drunk. I'm gonna be an alcoholic. I'm gonna be an addict. What else do you expect from me if that's how I grew up? That's all I know, right?" So then they interviewed his brother Tim, and then they asked him the same question. "Tim, why are you in the situation that you're in? How did you get here?" He goes, "Well, my mom was an addict, my dad was a drunk, and I did not want to be that way." And Tim grew up to be a successful CEO and multimillionaire, and while the other one was a drug addict and alcoholic who never amounted to anything in his life. And that's the difference between people that find reasons and people that find excuses. So I use my environment to kind of motivate me and push me, because I didn't want to be another statistic of the South Central community, and kind of always wanted to be somebody that inspired people that came from those neighborhoods to be better than what they have.
Absolutely. Yeah. Either you use it as an excuse or you use it as fuel for you to inspire and get to the next level.
The fuel is the very thing that was always pushing me to get out of the hood.
Absolutely. So before getting into real estate, what other sales jobs did you? Because I know that you used to own like a trucking car.
I've done it all. I've sold healthy energy drinks, bro. I've sold legal services. I've sold business to business credit processing systems. You know, that was another space where I learned a lot of sales. I mean, this was a really, really like deep sales driven environment. We had to walk into a business owner's business, make them fall in love with us within like 10 seconds, and trust us with all their personal information and credit card information, and have them switch over to us with just saving them $10 to $15 a month on their credit card service. You know, and it was a cutthroat business. So I was doing that. But it was in the wrong environment. The person that was running the office at the time was kind of building a negative environment around us. And even though you were doing good and hustling and working your butt off, because of that environment, sometimes, you know, a lot of people were struggling. That it was a 100% commission paid job. I remember that I was going through like the worst times in my life. At that point, I was like the broke of the broke. to the point where I didn't even have money to buy new shoes. So I had 3 holes in my shoes.
Wow.
And I remember it was the summer, everything was great. I didn't care about the holes, right? And I'm going business, and it starts raining one time. So it started raining, and my socks were getting wet. So then since I was in the business, I cut the cardboard and I stuck it inside my shoe just so I could keep my feet from getting wet.
Wow.
And I was telling myself, you know what? How the hell am I here? And I can't even afford a pair of shoes to go out and do this business. And that kind of burned a little something in me, and it just made me want to leave that particular thing that I was doing. It helped me a lot. It trained me. It pushed me. And then from there, there was a guy that was working in that office that had left prior. And he always said, hey, I want to open up a chain of Mexican food restaurants in China. You know, would you come with me? And I go, yeah, you know what? Why not? You know what I mean? So he found out I had left that office, and he reached out to me one time. He goes, hey, man, I'm getting into the gourmet food truck business, and I want you to come with me, because he knew about the people skills that I had. And of course, I was Hispanic, so that was a perfect way for him to kind of get into his restaurant empire.
Right.
And at the time, the food trucks were huge. We were kind of one of the first food trucks in Pasadena. We were only like 1 of 2 trucks there. And I ended up working with him at first. He was paying me, and then I eventually became an owner partner with him.
Wow.
And I was running the food truck on my own route. And, you know, people loved me because I was giving good customer service. But that thing is, man, I give it to the people in the food industry. That thing is definitely demanding. I was inside a truck. It's hot. The cook especially is sweating.
Your size?
My size too. Big. I'm leaning over to the window. At that time, I was actually skinny. I was running a food truck, but I was skinny.
I was sweating.
I wasn't this big. Exactly. So then I was doing that, but you know, my partners, they wanted to run before they can crawl, and I told them, let's not get the second food truck. Let's continue with this one.
Build this one
first. They got a little ambitious, and then now we had double the expense. And
double the responsibility.
Double the responsibility. Right. We had no more employees. And it was a point where I was out busting my ass. I used to have to pick up the truck at 5 in the morning. Wow. And it was around the time that I was transitioning from that bad office that I was telling you about. And I had no car because I had done a volunteer repo on a car that I had. I said, you know, I never was that late, but I knew that I was going to get behind on my payments. And I said, you know what, let me do a volunteer repo. Jacked up my dad's credit. And I had no car at the time, so I was taking a bicycle at 4:30 in the morning to get to. Luckily, that the yard where we used to park the lunch trucks was, I'll say, a good 3 to 5 miles from where my mom lived in South Central. It was on Slauson and I forgot the other street. I think it's Avalon. And I used to take the bike there until I built a relationship with the cook, and then the cook started giving me rides. You know, and it was kind of my rebuilding stage. And
so, what kept you going right there, Jose? Because I know that you're talking about all these struggles, all these setbacks, all these hurdles that are going through your life right there. What kept you moving forward despite all that?
You know what? I guess it was my will to be somebody and not be a disappointment and make my family and my parents proud. My daughter was already born. You know, I had my daughter when I was 19 years old, and at that time she was a huge motivation for me. I had a lot of struggles with the particular person that I was with, and all that stuff kind of piled up. And I just say, you know what? I've always been positive. I've always been the type to see the cup half full instead of half empty. And I said, you know what? This is just temporary. You know, I was young. You know, I go, this is a journey that I got to go through to build my character. And that's what kept me pushing. You know, and I knew that I wasn't meant for that. I was meant for more. But this was just something that I had to go through to kind of build me to who I am now. You know?
Absolutely.
So I use that to kind of fuel me and just keep pushing forward. I ended up leaving the lunch truck business because what I told you that they ended up doing that. They didn't listen to me. We're generating like 13, 14 grand a month in both trucks, but the expenses were eating up like 10 to 11,000 of it. And to be sharing 3 to 4 grand amongst 3-4 partners,
yes.
I was putting most of the work on waking up, getting the truck, getting everything ready. So I ended up leaving that. I had a friend that was working at Verizon at the time. He found out that I was in the food truck, that I was looking for work. He connected me with Verizon. So I started working at Verizon, getting back on my feet again, right? and they were paying a good job. It was a good commission, but I just didn't feel fulfilled there. I was used to being out there and being in the field, and in Verizon, you're there waiting for clients to come to you and the business to come to you, and
that wasn't your thing.
Yeah, it just wasn't my thing. I love the people that I was working with. I mean, the people that were great. My manager, actually, a big shout out to him, because when I told him I wanted to leave because another opportunity presented itself, I put in my 2 weeks and he didn't want me to go. But he goes, look, if this is what you feel you need to do, I support you.
Wow.
You know? And if this is what you got to do to be happy, then go for it. That's when I kind of stumbled upon real estate. I was at Verizon for about 9 months. Great people, doing great, getting paid well, but just not happy. And a friend of mine, you know him, Juan Carlos, kind of reached out to me, JC.
Shout out to JC.
JC, he's always been there. He's actually been one of my mentors, because when I was 18 years old, he introduced me to the network marketing side. And even though I don't continue doing that, it built my mindset and my mentality.
Absolutely.
Because that's where I started reading the books like Independent Brokerage, listening to the audios, and it changed my mind. So that's another thing that helped me kind of stay positive and push through all that stuff that I was going through. So I ended up putting my 2 weeks at Verizon, and I transitioned over to doing credit repair. Right? I was like, dude, credit repair, my credit's not that great. You know? But luckily, I was doing credit repair inside a real estate office. Right? So when I started seeing what these agents were doing and the money they were making, and I was making peanuts compared to what they were doing, but I was hustling because I always knew that I needed to talk to a lot of people in order to make things happen.
Right.
And I used that to kind of build the credit repair, build relationships with different realtors, different clients. So then I got approached to start doing hard money loans. And I didn't know much about hard money loans. I didn't know what it meant, what it involved. But I Googled. Thankfully, Google was there for me. I Googled a lot. I talked to a lot of people, and I started doing hard money loans, and then transitioned to doing flips. And then I did flips, and I saw the market was shifting from a lot of the short sales to the standard market.
What year was that?
This was back in 2012, 2013, around there. I had started doing a few little flips with an investor that I was doing joint ventures with.
You were still not licensed?
I was still not licensed in real estate, because at that time you could do hard money loans without having a license, just through a brokerage with the investor that was paying. And then the flips, I didn't need a license either, because I was had a cash investor that was kind of buying up the properties, and we struck up a contract. But then I saw the market shift. It was where the short sales were going away, and it was transitioning to a standard market. Some of these flips were taking 3 to 6 months before I was even making a penny. You know what I mean? And there I am trying to make happen, trying to rebuild myself, and still motivated. You know, it took me about 3 months before I got my first flip. So 3 whole months without making any money.
Wow. What did you do in between that time?
That's why I transitioned, because I'm like, man, these flips taking too long. Let me get my license. And I remember my first buyers ever were some clients that I had from credit repair that came from an ad that I had put, that I fixed their credit, and they were ready to buy. And at the time, I was already getting my license, so I got my license, and I was able to help them buy a house. And I got paid like in 30 days. And I go, wait, I got paid a little faster here. Let me do the flips, leave them in the back burner. Let me focus on buyers and sellers. And thankfully, I did that, because my first year I did about 80,000, right? Second year I did over 100K. Before that, nobody in my family had done that type of money.
Wow.
You know, and I figured out a way to do it without no real training, no real support, no real anything. And then from there, I just kept producing, still doing flips, and then I transitioned into owning my own office right after that.
Wow.
That's how I landed in real estate, because my friend Juan Carlos told me, hey, there's a buddy of mine that's opening up a credit repair office, and you should go and check it out. You know what I mean? And I took the leap of faith.
Right.
Again,
right.
You know, unknown. You know, I left a good paying job that was secure, had benefits, not being happy to go and do a commission based only. Didn't work out the way it was supposed to work out, and what JC told me was going to happen. The person that I was working with was just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Right.
But thankfully, there was a lady there that introduced me to the hard money loan side, and she helped me get into the hard money side. And that's how I got my foot into real estate right after that. Now we've been open, as you know, in Downey for about 3 years. We outgrew our first small office within 6 months, and I had declared that our first year, we're gonna move out of this office. It was an 1,100 square foot building, you know. Here I go again now. I got my business going and running as a realtor. Now I took the leap of faith of actually owning an office. And when I took the leap of faith in owning an office, all my money was getting stuck at a flip in Norwalk. It was just eating me up. So when the opportunity presented itself to get my office, I really didn't have any money to open up an office. But I put in an application. The lady said, "You're approved. You want an office?" And I'm like, "Oh, this is becoming real. Can I cuss? Is that okay?"
Yeah.
This is becoming real now. I can own my own office, you know. And literally, when the lady had finished my application, a commission from a house that I sold in Victorville, $5,000 commission, bro, little baby commission. I closed it, and I gave the first deposit to hold the office, right?
And the power of declaring.
Yeah. And this was in October when they told me I could get it. In November, I put the deposit and we were supposed to go into the office December. I'm like, oh, how am I going to get the money for the rest of it, you know? But at the time, it was me and my business partner, Edwin, had already talked about becoming partners, you know what I mean? And he came in with the first month's payment. And I had a lot of help because all my money was getting eaten up. I even had to borrow money from my girlfriend, so she supported me too because I used some of that money to get our business up and running. And then we didn't have no furniture, right? So yeah, we got the office, we got everything, but we don't have furniture, we don't have computers, we don't have phone.
Now we gotta fill it up.
Now I gotta fill it up. So luckily, the guy that was leaving the office was going out of business. So I struck a deal with him to leave all his furniture, which was all mixed matching, old, nothing even coordinated with anything, but we just needed to get up and running and operate, right. And I negotiated him to leave all that stuff for $1,500.
Wow.
So technically our office was open with like $5,000, you know? And within the first year we grew it. A lot of learning.
Wow,
we're still learning, we're still developing, we're still growing. But we didn't have a big backing by a big franchise company, right? We've done everything by scratch. We've developed people that never had any sales experience. So our big thing with recruiting agents is new agents, developing them, building their mindset, and making them into great salespeople.
So my question to you now is, now you're in the leadership role. So let's just say that a new guy wants to get into the business, wants to get into the real estate space. They want to join your office. What is the steps that they go through to be successful and to have a successful career right away?
You know what? I always tell people, and I always start with mindset initially. I believe strongly in that. I always recommended an audio, which is an audio that helped me a lot, which is The Strangest Secret.
Oh my God.
Lauren Nightingale. That's my ultimate favorite audio.
You guys got to listen to that audio. That's so powerful.
If you haven't already, listen to it.
Yes.
Because I listened to that audio when I was 20 years old, and that audio was like, wow, this is what I need. I need to have
33 minutes. Powerful.
There's 2 parts, so you got to listen to both. So I always say, you know, with my new agents, what do we do when we get into business? As broker owners, we expect results, right? But I can't get anybody to give us results if they're not taking any action.
Right.
And if they're not taking any action, it's because of either the philosophies that they have or the beliefs, like if they can do it or cannot do it, right? And those beliefs and philosophies are fed by their mindset. So what I do is I attack the mindset first. Why? Because they've been programmed for X amount of years to go to work, get good grades, and get a good job.
Right.
That's what I call the 40-40-40 plan. You know what the 40-40-40 plan is, right? Work 40 hours a week, 40 hours of your life to retire on 40% of the income that you couldn't live off before. They fed me that program when I was a young kid. Go to work for my rest of your life. I tried that.
We're all getting fed that.
I tried the working for somebody. I gave 3.5 years of mine working for free sometimes, staying out late, physical work at this company. It was a beer distribution company. And when I was getting ready to move and make the move to kind of a better job, they kicked me right in the ass. You know, and I go, really? After I've sacrificed, never called in sick, worked for free, then you can easily just toss me away. So I said, you know what, I'm never gonna give anybody that power over me ever again, you know? So you come and you have these people that are given that plan. So you gotta kind of change their mind, change their beliefs, instill in them that they can believe, instill in them that they are powerful, instill in them that they're great producers. So just feeding them the positive affirmations, feeding them the right books to read, the right audios to listen to. They call it brainwashing. I go, the only way you're gonna wash your brain if it's dirty, right? So yes, it is brainwashing because they're fed all this negativity.
Yeah.
And we get them into thinking and believing better about themselves.
Right.
Equipping them with the skills to be better sales reps. So then I got the mindset done. Now they have the belief, they have the right philosophies, they know they can do it. Now they have to take the necessary actions, and now I get results that we expect. A lot of times, a lot of other brokers or owners, they're result driven, not necessarily mindset driven or people driven, and that's the reason why they don't grow, they don't develop, because you're asking for somebody to operate on the same mindset, negative mindset that they came in with. You know? So
that's so powerful. That's so powerful.
I lead with that when it comes to office.
Yeah, that alone is so powerful because, again, a lot of people that are trying to get into the space of real estate or sales, they come from a 9-to-5 mentality. They come from people being on top of them. So typically when we get into a commission space, it's more on our own, right? It's more on like, we got to take the action, but having the right team, the right mentorship, that's going to support you. Yeah, absolutely.
The 100% commission is not for everybody. I mean, it's truly, you have to hustle. You have to bust your ass, you know, and not everybody is going to be able to do it. But it's going to be one of the most rewarding things you're going to do, because that's the only way you're going to get paid what you're worth. In a particular 9-to-5 job, if you're the hardest working guy and there's a lazy guy next to you not doing shit, he's still going to get paid the same hourly rate as you are, right? And it sucks. And 100% base, you work harder than everybody else, you're going to make more money than everybody else. Simple as that. That's why I love this, because it's truly a performance base, and you truly get what you're worth from it, you know? And that's why I've always kind of loved the commission-driven environments as opposed to like the regular 9-to-5s. And
I love how you're doing it, because you're starting from the core, the mind. You're starting from the mindset. And one thing that I learned about JC, one of your mentors, he talks about when somebody starts in the business, we all have an expiration, right? Our mission, our duty is to extend that expiration so they no longer have an expiration. By working on their mind, by working on their belief system, by working on how they feel, how they see themselves, that's going to transcend into how they carry themselves, how they knock on that door, how they present to that customer, how they approach that person. So they're more than likely going to get a more positive result than a negative.
Exactly.
So that's so powerful that you guys are implementing that, because that's cutting people's time in half.
Yeah, it is.
And you're helping them get to the next level faster by doing that, by starting from the core. Because we could have the right scripts, we could have the right comp plan, we could have the right environment, but if we don't have the right mindset, if we don't believe that it's possible,
it's counterproductive. In my opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, is doing it wrong in my opinion. You know what I mean? So that's what I ask for my guys, is giving you guys the audios, the books, what you need. The how-to, you're gonna pick it up. It's gonna be there. You know. But like I always said, and the thing that I learned from there is that if your why doesn't make you cry, it's not big enough, right? And I've always led with why. You know, my why has always been is buying my mom's house, or dream house, building her house from scratch. I already have my mind and my vision into doing it, and that's the why that pushes me. My daughter as well, my family, you know. So having that why is key, because we could give you this, but if you don't know what you're doing it, what your purpose is, then you're not gonna get there. You know what I mean? I've always said that I'd rather have vision than no sight, than sight with no vision. You know, and that's the thing why we've grown our company, because of the vision. You know, they say a person with sight looks at a pile of rocks as a pile of rocks. A person with vision looks at that pile of rocks and sees a beautiful cathedral being built. And that's kind of, I think, why we've grown the way we've grown. I always had the vision, my partner and I went to, of seeing us in being a powerhouse company. You know, like I told you, we don't come from the support of these big corporations that others have that already have the system. We've had to build the system, we have to build the environment, we had to build the value all from scratch. We don't have these big life coaches and stuff that are in our office and doing.
You guys are in the trenches with
We're
everybody.
in the trenches.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still producing agent.
Absolutely.
I believe in leading by example more than anything. I will never make you do something that I haven't done myself.
Right.
I believe that's being a little bit of a hypocrite. Like, I wanted you to go do this, but I've never done it myself. That was one of the reasons why I left college. I went to college for business administration. I was 20 something. It was around that whole time when my mind was just changing, and I started asking a lot of my business professors. I go, because they're supposed to teach me to be this powerful business owner, right? So I go to all of my professors in college. It was my second year. I was already taking my business courses, and I asked them, how many businesses have you ran, and what can you teach me about the businesses to be successful, or what are the failures that you want me to avoid? Guess what? None of the professors ever owned the business.
Yeah. They didn't have skin in the game.
What? And at that time, I was reading the books, because there's 3 levels of learning, right? Is learn knowledge, apply knowledge, and then teach knowledge. So you learn it, you apply what you learn, and then you get to teach what you've applied, because you've already been through the failures. Right. Problem with a lot of and this is not to knock on anybody, the ones that do have it, great. The ones that I talked to, they didn't. They go from learning it to teaching it. And the biggest, most powerful one of all is the applying it, the action. So when I heard that, I go, wait, so why am I here sitting in class, giving all this time to these people, paying all this money, right? Luckily, I had some financial aid and I had some scholarships at the time, when they're not going to teach me to be this powerful owner that I want to be. So I dropped out of college.
They didn't have what you wanted.
They didn't have what I want, and I dropped out of college. You know, I don't tell everybody that's what you need to do, but for me, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to waste any more time doing my college when I knew that they were not going to teach me. I was going to learn more from the hard knocks, the school of hard knocks, going out there and getting my feet wet and figuring it out on my own and falling in my face multiple times. Remember when I was 14 years old, I told you I was doing door to door? That was my first experience with failure and people closing the doors on me. You know, literally, sir, I'm here. Boom, boom. Yeah. Almost got bit by like 3 dogs, all that stuff. Even in the business side, I got a little bit of racism. I was in Arizona, and I walked into the office, they saw me, they saw my face, get the F out of my office, you know what I mean? So all those failures were just fuel for me to want to be more and do more, you know? And I'm still in the journey, you know? I'm not a made man like a lot of people that already have the big multi-mansions and the big cars. I'm in the journey there. Absolutely. My vision is there. I see myself there.
Yeah, you're there already.
I just have to make some changes to be there.
Absolutely, you're there already.
And I think 100%. This is what I can teach. I can teach the struggle, the uphill battle that comes with this type of territory.
So what are a couple things, a couple tools that you could share with the audience that they could implement today that will start changing some of the rituals? You
know what? I always be a student is what I will leave you with. You never stop learning. Once you think you know it all is when you've already messed up. That's always been my thing. I'm always open-minded. I'm always willing to learn. I don't care if it's somebody in a different industry than me, that maybe be doing something different than me, that might be in a different business than me. I can learn something from somebody. Right. I don't think I'm better than anybody. Don't ever measure yourself to somebody else's successes. I think that's what a lot of people mess up too, is they compare themselves with other people. Everybody has a different journey, right? Your journey is different than mine. His is different than yours. So stick with it as long as you know what you want. Have a clear vision of your why and why you're doing what you're doing, and stick to your goals, right? And don't quit. That's the biggest thing. Even though I've left jobs, right, and changed what I've done, I've never quit. It's always been in the mind that I want to be better. Right. So I don't call that quitting. I call that progressing. Right. You know what I mean? So it's
powerful right there.
Yeah.
Different
it's different distinctions. Definitely. It's not quitting, it's progressing. Yeah. Am I saying, and if you see in my Instagram, is winners never quit? I mean, winners never quit and quitters never win. You know, it's always been a saying that I believe in, because that's the problem with people. They quit too soon. Yeah. Right? They're close to getting to the
3 feet from goal.
3 feet from goal. Yeah. That story is powerful. Those are other stories that I've learned. And they quit too soon. So don't quit too soon. Keep an open mind. always remain a student, you know, read the books, listen to the audios. If you don't have role models, I didn't have role models. Role models were gangsters or drug dealers. I had to find my role models in the books. My parents were my role models as far as ethics and hard work and being honest, but they weren't going to teach me how to be a business owner because they've never done it, you know what I mean? But now through the business, we get to help them.
Absolutely.
So that's what I hope that.
Yeah. What are some books that you can recommend?
Right off the bat, Think and Grow Rich.
Yes.
I know a lot of the speakers that you probably interview will tell you that, and there's a reason for that.
Yes.
So if you keep hearing that, should be an eye-opener.
Yes.
Think and Grow Rich was good, but I always say How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
Yes.
That book helped me with dealing with people. You know what I mean? And I believe that that book will be powerful for a lot of you guys as well.
I have a question from one of our... Who is your current mentor right now?
You know, right now, I don't have somebody that's there with me every single day, but my mentor has always been a mentor since from 18, has always been Jim Rohn, okay? If you guys know who Jim Rohn is, not that sports guy. It's a guy that was a motivational speaker. I really got involved in a lot of his audios, a lot of his books, and that got me through a lot of those times, and it's good with sales. So I've always coined that Jim Rohn is one of my mentors. You know, there's a lot of people that I look up in this business that I get stuff from, but there's not one particular mentor right now that I can think of other than Jim Rohn.
Okay. One last question: how important is to adapt to right now things that are happening, shifts, markets, with today's technology, all these things that are happening, that right now our life is going very, very fast. How important is to adapt and continue on your mission?
I think is very crucial. Okay, if you have to be versatile in this business, and you have to be willing to change, right? If you stay stubborn in the same old mentality in some ways, you're gonna get left behind. So I always say that, you need to be keeping up with the changing times. Our business is changing right now too. I've never experienced a down market, so me myself right now, I'm already going through that change.
So what are your priorities right now for you to adapt to that change?
Right now is working as hard as I can to generate as much business and income as I can.
Production for yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
Stack is what they call it, right? So start
Stack
saving
your chips.
more. My partner always gets on me and my girlfriend too, because I'm a big spender and I need to stop. So
you like good things. Look at that.
And I need to stop going to Vegas so much. You know what I mean? So those biggest thing is getting more disciplined with the finances. Right. Making as much as I can right now. Why? Because I want to be ready for when the market, if it does take a shift, I always say there's always opportunity in everything. Up market, down market, there's ways to make money. Like you said, you have to learn and adapt. Right. So it's just keeping a close look at the market and then adapting to the new technology that will make us more efficient in our business. Right. And I think that's what we've done. We have a lot of millennials in our office, and it's a lot of electronic stuff that we get to do. And we've built that in our office where now we got to stay ahead of the rest with our marketing, with our ways we do our business. So
that's one thing that sets you apart from other offices around your area?
When we came out like, who the heck are these guys? Who's Notice Group, you know? There's been a lot of things that you said, good and bad, you know what I mean? But the good thing is that people were like talking, and we were just putting out, I think we have some of the best marketing out there, some marketing pieces that go out that set us apart. I'm big on Instagram, my biggest partner is big on Facebook. So most of our big recruits came from Instagram, you know? So being able to use those tools to be able to increase our business is crucial. And a lot of offices barely started catching up. I see them now posting more on Instagram and more posting on Facebook, and they weren't doing this before.
The importance of adapting fast.
Wow. And that's why us being a smaller company, we can do. We can make changes like this. As opposed to the big companies, they need to get the okay from here and all there. If something's not working for us, we'll change it, you know? So that's what's made us kind of grow in these last 3 years.
And I gotta commend you and your partners, because you guys are doing a great job. You guys are helping a ton of people change their lives, because you're providing a platform, not only a platform, but you're a community, an environment where they could literally change everything for them and for their family and for the people that are gonna come behind.
Yeah, you know what? A lot of them come from a lot of the backgrounds like I grew up.
Right.
And giving them that opportunity is like the one that was given to me is huge for me.
Right.
Honestly, it's like this vehicle is a great vehicle. Not just gonna teach you how to drive it, right? Because you deserve to.
No, absolutely.
A lot of people don't feel like they deserve it.
Right.
And being able to give them this opportunity with our office, for me, is the most important thing. Making that positive impact in that person. I love seeing that new person that comes. We had people that used to come in backpacks and shorts. Now dressed really professional. We changed the whole all around, a whole different person. I love seeing that transformation.
Yeah, the power of transforming their self-image.
Yep.
Because once they started believing in themselves, they started carrying themselves a little bit different. They started investing more in
others and believe in themselves. Absolutely. You know, and they need that at times. You know?
That's the power of accountability. One thing that I've learned in myself is surrounding myself with people and declaring it, having people to hold me accountable. Sometimes we go that extra mile because we have that accountability. Yeah. If we didn't have that accountability, if we didn't put ourselves out there, we could be let's chill. Yeah. I could take it the day out. Yeah. I could relax. Nobody knows. But when you put yourself out there, you're like, oh shit.
And I think that's the hardest thing.
I gotta produce now.
Staying on the grind. You know what I mean? But having somebody right there to push you is gonna catapult your success that much more.
Yeah.
You know? So
absolutely. Well, I wanna thank you for your time, Jose. I know that a lot of people got a ton of value, and I just wanna thank you for everything that you continue to do. And I know that you're big on contribution. You're constantly, you and your company are constantly giving back to a lot of nonprofits. Can you talk a little bit about that before we finish?
Yeah, you know, we recently just had a big event. It was our first annual real estate fight against cancer. We brought together a lot of big people in our business, and we built this kind of like a board of directors now, and we picked City of Hope to be of contribution, and we were able to raise about $11,000 and give back to them. Prior to that, we've donated Thanksgiving dinners for families in Linwood. Right. We've helped we did a huge rally to gather stuff up for the people that were affected in Houston and Mexico. So
you guys done backpacks for kids back to school.
We've done multiple. I've even sponsored certain kids that didn't have money to play sports from my old school. Donated banners to them. I'm a big believer in giving back. You know, I think the more you give, the more you receive.
Absolutely.
And not necessarily in the like financial way. It's just the appreciation,
more love, more joy,
and
more fulfillment.
And it's number one. You know what I mean? If God blesses us, we can bless others.
Absolutely.
You know? And I wish we could do more. Yeah. You know, and eventually we will do more.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's key. That's one of our core ethics with our company is giving back.
Absolutely.
You know? So thank you, man, because you gave back to me a while back when you invited me to a training, and it was definitely life-changing training. A little bit after that training is when I started my own office, so I appreciate you for thinking of me and inviting me, because if it wasn't for you, maybe I would have changed some things to get me to where I'm at right now. So I appreciate it.
Oh, and thank you for trusting me. Yeah, that time we barely knew each
other. It was a leap of faith.
Yeah. Because
what is Jeffrey inviting me to? He's so anxious to take me here. What's this?
This guy's crazy.
When we get there in the room, I'm like, what's going on here? But you know what? I loved it. It was a great experience for me. And you know, I say that maybe if I wouldn't have done it, maybe I wouldn't have jumped into the ownership side, and I did. So thank you for that, because it was a direct contribution to you inviting me there.
Appreciate that. No, thank you, man.
Appreciate
man, I hope you guys got a ton of value. This is someone that you guys gotta make sure that you guys follow on Instagram, Facebook. Where can they find you?
Broker Taps for Instagram and Jose Tapatio Perez for Facebook. Tapatio is not part of my name. It's my nickname, guys. But since,
how did you get that nickname really quick?
Oh man, it's a long story. We'll have to go to another 10 minutes of it. But
tune in next time.
Tune in next time. Every time I go to events, they put Tapatio on it, and they think that's my last name.
When you're in New Jersey, right?
It's still fun though, because it's my nickname, so I've owned it, you know, and that's how people know me. Because there's so many Jose's, right? Maybe they're Mexican.
You say Tapatio, you know who he is.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for that. Find me, add me, whatever I can do to help you guys grow. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. And if he could do it, anybody could do it. This is a true example that anything is possible if you believe in yourself and you take massive action and you surround yourself with the right people. So take care and tune in to the next episode. I'm super excited. Take care, y'all.
See you guys next time. Thank you.